George was grey and shriveled in a mummified-looking way. He was the size of an infant. He was in a disc, a flying saucer. I know how insane that sounds. But hey, I was about 8 years old when I became aware of him, and when I noticed I realized he'd probably been following me around since birth. It wasn't until I was 10 or so it dawned on me I really should not be seeing things like that. It was always just kind of hovering in the near distance, always outside, never in a building, though I was sure he could, if he wanted to. He seemed friendly, protective even. He just kind of followed and watched. I had no idea of the significance of the George name. In fact, I don't recall naming the familiar death. It just was George. A dead baby in a metallic crib. A caution to an ending of a story I yet knew not I was part of when I first saw him. In my 13th year, I smoked pot for the first time, quickly moving to LSD, which I loved, and then peyote, which is a sacrament. And somewhere in that time George got lost, and I've not seen him since. But I became aware of some things. I had no desire to move, not west or east or north or south. I did not want to have children. This madness needed to stop. The betrayal of something in that island cave. I think that was what George wanted me to know. And once I knew that, he left. Had he or something similar haunted the other eldest males? I'd imagine being halfway across the Missouri with a raft of hot horses and seeing that thing hovering nearby again might have been a cause for alarm. Or maybe not. I don't know. There were only 2 males of my generation that could carry on the chain if it was still in effect. One was sterile. It turns out he adopted a child, a boy, and named it George. An interesting move. Sort of pick up where the gave away kid line was broken. But it came to naught. The child is sickly and bedridden. The other male put a 12-gauge shotgun to his head. I saw the death sight. He'd been dead 10 days before he was found. Flies that themselves were 3 inches thick on the window sills. I opened the door and the billowing smoke of flies poured out. It reminded me of bats coming out of a cavern at dusk. The ceiling of the death room was flat and had at one time been white. The feeding flies had landed there at times, and now the ceiling was speckled with millions of tiny red dots. A goddamn fucking braille message from hell.